Hello, everybody. It is me, Pacific. Sometimes, viewers, there are things that are true, and just by simply uttering them, vocalizing them, bringing them to light, you will be branded as a racist, a hater, and given all kinds of labels. But I want to tell my viewers, don't accept that. What I'm going to do in this video is talk about some things that I have noticed about races in general, ethnicities. And I'm going to say it. And I'm going to say it. We're going to talk about Asians. We're going to talk about Hispanics. And other Hispanics will be Mexicans, Chicanos, Latinos, whatever. We're going to talk about African Americans, black people. We're going to talk about white people. And we're going to start off with white people. Because something hit me the other day that was startling. And it's about my own Caucasian race. There's so many things I could say. I was in the bathroom the other day and washing my hands with a black gentleman. And we were talking about how expensive Denver's becoming. And I said, it's funny. You can go work at Walmart for $9, 9 something an hour. You can go to Spokane, and Spokane has been labeled as a $10 an hour town. And does anybody notice what's happening in our society, our white portion of America? That Gino Palucci can come into Duluth or come into Hibbing. Gino Palucci, for those of you that don't know, if you go to the store and see the Michelina's pasta, that's Gino Palucci. Gino Palucci has a plant in Duluth, and he was going to bring one to Hibbing, but he wanted Hibbing to pay for it. And let me tell you something about these way overboard, very wealthy businessmen operate. And it's sickening. A city that's economically depressed or recessed will offer a guy free land, tax-free for so many years, if he comes and brings his business there. You talk about pimping. This goes on all across this nation. It is wrong that a guy who's making millions and millions of dollars anyway is going to play that game with a community that's economically depressed. And then the leaders of that community say, oh, it'll bring jobs. $9 an hour. Woohoo. $7 an hour. Whee! None of those people are going to get rich. None of those people will be able to make enough to pay rent by themselves. We'll have to have a dozen roommates just to make it work. I'm sorry. Gino Palucci's a joke. When Hibbing says, we're not going to pay you to come up here, Gino Palucci, like a toddler, says, well, I'm going to take my ball and go home. Good, get out of here. We don't need your cheap pasta plant. $9 an hour jobs where you treat people like crap. He's not the only one who does it. But I want to talk about generalizations. Do you ever notice that people who go and shoot up at shopping malls and shoot up at public schools are white boys? My race doesn't want to hear that, but it's the truth. And what kind of white boys? Gangbangers? Poverty? No. Middle to upper middle class. Take Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold. And I'm going to say something. What were the parents doing while all this was going on? There were rumors that they had their rooms full of ammunition, had locks on their bedroom doors. I'm like, and I'm sorry, but mom and dad of both of those families are doing very well. And none of them issued any kind of a statement afterwards. And people say, well, their attorneys probably told them not to talk. Well, I'm sorry, I work with children. I'm currently going through my own situation. It is a fact that when children are doing these kinds of things, something is linked back to the parents. Well, what about your situation, Pacific? My situation is a little bit different. Divorce sucks. That much I know. When a child does not have his or her father, there's going to be some consequences for that. And why is that? Because God said it's not good for man to be alone, and a child is told to honor his mother and his father. The "and" is the swing that says both are needed. In my years of experience as a school bus driver, and I love it when, and I'm going to tell you some of the nastiest comments come from white, spoiled middle class or teens that sit on their butt and smart off on the internet all day, which is also telling that a school bus driver doesn't have a right to weigh in on children. That's laughable. That's like saying the guy who designed the Golden Gate Bridge doesn't have the right to be an engineer. Okay. By the way, the bridge has stood for a pretty long time, so I think he did all right. White middle to upper middle class kids are the ones that go into movie theaters at Batman showings and shopping malls and public schools. It isn't the black people, it isn't the Hispanic people, and it's not the Asians. Interesting to note. But before the black people go, see, because I've heard black people point that out. Let me fast forward to a young lady that worked at a place where there's 2 terminals for bus driving. One of those terminals is predominantly black employees. She's black. And she said to me one time when I had a discussion with her, she said, I stopped working at that terminal because the hate and the games and the rudeness was so strong. And I've watched black people complain about white people, but then I watch when they're on their own camp. I've dated a black woman. Her own worst enemies are the members of her own household. Kids that won't come over and help her move. Her own brother won't let her cook in the kitchen. I mean, on and on it goes. And I go, boy, for all the supposed problems that the white people generate according to the black community, I just watch a lot of blacks and I hear more biatching about their own family, about their own kind. I remember working at a place many years ago, and I had a lady that was a para on my bus. This was a long, long time ago, and I watched when I went into the break room, the black people tore her up, and she was black. She was nice. She didn't hurt anybody, but they made fun of her. They mocked her so bad that she came onto my bus almost in tears. I said, what does the matter? She goes, they're so mean to me. She was cute. She was nice. And I'll tell you something. There's some black women I know, they go get a new car. They show up at work amongst their own black people, and their own black people come out and take a key to it. The division within the black community is off the charts. Then you get people like Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson and other buffoons that make the black community just look pathetic. And they're complaining about all this injustice, but you'll never see them defend whites, Asians, or Hispanics. But they always defend the indefensible. Michael Brown, O.J. Simpson, Rodney King, and a host of others that just menstruate all over society with ghetto behavior. But let's not leave all stones unturned. Let's talk about Hispanics, Chicanos, Mexicans. I was in the break room one day and I said to a gentleman, I said, are you Hispanic? Or are you Mexican? Oh, typical whitey, thinks I'm Mexican. Got his hair spike tattoos all over him. He looks Mexican to the core. He goes on and tells me he's Italian. I said, how much of a percent? And he admits a little bit. I'm Spanish, bro. No, you're Mexican. You act just like everybody around you that is. But let me say something about Mexicans. Let me say something. People that I have met from Mexico City, I just talked to a driver yesterday. We were both on an excursion together. From Mexico City. Smart, kind, easy to talk to. I've had students on my bus last year, this year from Mexico City. They always sat up in the front and talked to me. Guys, girls, nice, polite. I'm like, sheesh, maybe I ought to go to Mexico City instead of the Philippines or Asia. To be sure, Mexico City has a lot more crime than Denver. Of course, there's a lot more people. But I've noticed the Mexicans I meet from Chihuahua, the town or the county or state across the border in Mexico, not so nice. They seem to come over here and take advantage of everybody. The woman that want to date me and bring their adult daughter and get free lunches. But what's interesting among Hispanics is the judgmental division and hatred amongst them. One table that's in our break room prides itself in their Spanish blood, and they say they don't like Mexicans. Can I say something? They act just like the Mexicans I know. Pregnant out of wedlock, not married. I know a woman who's got tattoos and marks all over her fingers. Both daughters got piercings in places, tattoos, both have babies out of wedlock, and she says, I'm proud of my daughters. I'm like, really? We're living in a time where everything is shifting and turning upside down. But a lot of those Hispanics make fun of my hair, make fun of my, I'm like, you know what? And it finally dawned on me, it doesn't matter what you do to your hair. They're not going to date you. They're in their own culture, and we people need to stop allowing a culture to judge us. We're seeing this increasingly. This so-called Spanish blood Italian mix who acts Mexican, who's smooth operator with the girls, who's overweight, who's not handsome, and he comes on to all the girls. Tacky. They wanted me to be, or a woman wanted me to be a part of a walking team of 5, of which he was on it. And the next day I told her, I said, you know what, I'm going to bow out. Why? I said, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to link up with people like that. People that view everything that white people are bad. I look at his lifestyle, I look at what he's doing, and I go, you don't act any different. And he himself, while blasting me for being a white guy, was saying he doesn't like Mexicans. I'm like, let me tell you about the true Mexicans. Something I've observed. We talk a lot about illegal immigrants, and I don't like that at all. If you're going to come to this country, do it right. Excuse me. Do it right. Make sure I don't have any tissue stuck in my lip. A lot of true Mexican people I know work hard for poquito dinero, little money. You don't hear them complaining. They take jobs that a lot of us white people won't take. Mexicans tend to be resourceful. They'll live with a bunch of roommates in a house and make it work. We white people tend to be picky. We want our space. We want our big cars. And then we wonder why we're in debt and wonder why we can barely make it and wonder why life is so stressful. The sad thing is a lot of white people don't want to admit this, but there's lessons we can learn from other cultures. Again, I don't support illegal immigration. It is draining our country like a toilet bowl of billions of dollars, and our presidents, both Republican and Democrat, have been very soft on that. That's wrong. If you're going to be soft on that, then let's bring over all the Asian women that we like, and then we can be fair, okay? And the Russian women and all the others, right? Why are we favoring those south of the border? I was talking to somebody the other day about visa in Mexico, and they said, not so easy. We let the Mexicans just walk right in here, and I can go down and be a tourist. But for me to live and work there, I got to go through a process. Let's talk about Asians in the United States of America. And I'm going to say something pointed here. I've watched the Asian girls. The Mexican guy, the Mexico City guy, talked to me yesterday. He's married. He met his wife in El Paso, Texas. He said, I noticed that people that come from other country, they hear and they change. I had a black female security guard, tough as everything, at one of my schools, get on my bus. And as I pulled up, she rode with me, and we were talking about the students I haul, and there's problems. Not towards me, but with the group of people in general. They had to finally make a statement, had a meeting with all of us, the kids and the bus drivers, saying one and done. That the kids at the school have been so misbehaving that they finally said, if the bus driver calls you out on something and he writes it up, you're out. You're done on the bus. And she told me, kids come here from another country and they're here and they get a taste of American culture and they go to SHIT. I said, yep, absolutely true. I can go to Cherry Creek Mall and I watch the Asian girls walk around and they are really materialistic, really stuck up. They don't look at you and smile. They buy their bags of crap and they tromp around in there just buying junk after junk after junk. And I've watched what American culture has done to people. And people call me negative and people say, man, for a Christian. Unfortunately, a lot of Christians don't see this. Is it negative for me to report what I report? Oh, it is. But how can one always be positive when you watch a white trash culture develop? The Kardashians, Paris Hilton, Britney Spears, Lady Gaga. I mean, that's white culture, folks. Garbage to the core. We have reality TV shows that showcase white people doing stupid things. Anybody remember the white women that pooped in a cup and ate it? I mean, really? How about beautiful white woman with a, sports bra on eating bugs? I'm like, it is amazing what people do to get attention and shock value. Lady Gaga wearing a meat dress. Then we swing over to the black community, and their big claim to fame is the whole FUBU, Tommy Hilfiger, the whole ghetto talk mentality, and you just shake your head and go, which one's got it right? None. I watch black people walk through their neighborhood, pants hanging down, the waist is between their knees. And somebody told me, in fact, it was my own son a couple of years ago that told me, and I did not know this. He said, the reason they wear their pants like that is it comes from prison. And it was a way of saying that, I'm into being backdoor sodomized. I'm like, are you serious? I talked to some others, and that was confirmed to me. So the next time you see a guy walking with his trousers hanging down, he likes being boffed in the rear end. Gross. There are generalizations that can be true. I've looked at Asian women in this culture. Wow, you talk about high maintenance? Very stuck up. They're the ones that buy the Range Rovers and the expensive Toyota SUVs, and they will not look at you and smile. As far as a race of people, and I'm going to say something, Mexican American, women born in the U.S. that are Hispanic, whether they're Spanish blood, Chicano, Chicana, Latina, Spanish blood. I've been in my workplace for 3+ years now. And I've come to the conclusion I don't trust most of them. Backbite you, be all sweet to you one minute, cold as ice the next. Do this. I have watched a number of people in our organization that work in offices be very rude and get away with it over and over and over, from secretaries to people in different diverse departments, and none of them are attractive, but then they're nice to some of their own kind. And interestingly enough, people that are black or white, male or female, in positions of power to do something about it, don't. That our whole society now, when we talk about multiculturalism, I'm going to say it doesn't work. In our own break room, there's cliques. There's people that say, don't sit at my table. And I'm talking about this not to spotlight my organization, but this goes on in other places. Our place is not unique to that. Though where I work, I've seen a dynamic I have not seen at many of the places I have worked over the years, factories and different things. There's always somebody that you're not going to like in a workplace, but this place is very interesting. Black people sit with the black people. And then we have that other class of people, the Hispanic female who's loudmouthed, shows cleavage, lifts up her arms, and all of this can swing in a summer breeze. Loudmouthed, alpha female, talks tough, has no hesitancy about smacking up a guy or a woman, thinks she's all that in a bag of chips. And I notice a lot of the people that hang out with her, the quality level isn't much better. And then we have the loudmouth black female. The minute I walk into the room, you got to hear her voice above all others. Boobs pushed up and wiggling like jello. Management looks the other way when she's showing cleavage. But then when a white girl was there showing some, she was talked to and addressed constantly, and she wasn't showing as much as her. I have sat back as a white male and watched and go, what is going on in our American culture? I'll tell you what's going on in Colorado, in Arizona, in Texas, in Southern Cali. The Mexicans, the Hispanic, they're taking over. And now they're showing discrimination against us. And that seems to be okay and allowable. Barack Obama looks the other way and is soft on illegal immigration. Why is that? Because it procures him votes. A lot of black people are angry at the white man, so this is their way to get revenge. People don't like it when I say these things, but our in-service was started off by a guy who said he's Mexican, but Hispanic, born in the U.S., and he talked about some things that are very true. He talked about attitudes among Hispanic females. And I'll tell you what I see. I see it in the teens. A lot of Hispanic females aren't very nice. 99% of them, even if they're small-breasted, they've got all this showing and pushed up into their chins. And I thought, yep, you'll be pregnant before you're 20, pierced, tattooed, and working in some place and never really making the big money. But you'll live with 20 other people and you all scrape together to buy that Cadillac Escalade and that $10,000 iPhone. I watched this happen. I have a bus route that I can watch, and the people that are the most trouble to me are the Hispanics that sit in the back. Chubby males, think they're tough, think they're bad. I have to talk to them on almost a daily basis. The slender white girls with braces, they're polite to me. The one Asian girl who's adopted by a white family, she's polite to me. The skinny, not going to fit in white boys, they're polite to me. In the afternoon, I have mostly Hispanics. I think one white kid and a couple of blacks. And I have buses of Hispanic males that are very kind to me. See you, mister. I like your chain, man. Take care, man. I can make generalizations. But when I break it all down, the nicest people I met were Mexicans from Mexico City. There's a girl I know from Mexicali. She's a bus aide. She's always polite to me. Hello, how are you? Long, beautiful black hair. It's people like that that make me want to relook at Mexico. But there is a dynamic that goes on in the US of A that is very sobering to me. This is talking about my experiences, viewers. You may not agree with this. You may think this is subjective. I try to look at things objective. I grew up in a middle-class family. Definitely middle class. I lived 7 years in Mammoth Lakes. You don't live in Mammoth Lakes in a large ski house and not be middle class. We had 2 cars. We had dogs and cats. We went on trips. Yellowstone, the Redwoods, the beach, Marineland, SeaWorld, Knott's Berry Farm, Disneyland. We've done it all. Anybody remember Lion Country Safari? I think that was somewhere near San Diego. That's gone now. When I drive, I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it. Yesterday, I was cut off by a business truck, a large flatbed truck. He didn't even get past my bus. When he got halfway his length, he's already cutting in. Oh, he had his blinker going. It's a school zone. It's 20, and he was speeding. I hit the horn, and then I put my left turn signal on because he stopped at the red light, and I thought, I'm going to get in that lane, and I'm going to write down the name of that unit. I called and talked to a guy, and he said, I'm going to ream that guy for that. He says, I generally don't have problems with my drivers, but we all have a bad day. And I said, I've been driving for 12 plus years, and that's ridiculous. White people, middle class people. Now, I'm not talking about the driver of that flatbed. I don't know his class. But as a driver in Denver, Colorado, the people that are least likely to let me in traffic, the people that are the rudest on the roads, no turn signal, speeding, pull up to a 4-way stop, I'm there first, and they'll run it and take out a turn. White women, white men that got the nice cars. And it dawned on me over the years that white people that are affluent and doing good, and I call that middle class, comfortable, they're the biggest spoiled brat jerks out there on the roads. Think the rules don't apply to them, can't be courteous, can't be nice. If you don't believe me, go through the Denver Tech Center at rush hour and watch what happens. They're bastards on wheels. They will close the gap, tailgate somebody so that they won't let somebody in. But I'll have a Mexican guy let me in traffic. I'll even have a black guy let me in traffic. Now, I'm not saying whites don't let me in. But what kind of white people let me in traffic? Usually the guy with the beater or the old pickup truck. I can make generalizations, and I will not apologize for them. Another thing I've noticed is a lot of white women in America. They love to come on my channel and then tell me I'm bitter and hate women. I would challenge them to ask themselves how many women have just complained about men, white men, over and over and over. So much so that they started an entire teaching called feminism that is now getting revenge at us, castrating us, lobotomizing us, and denying us of our manhood. Schultz writes something very interesting that I could not ignore. He talked about growing up in Catholic school and talked about the nuns. Everybody thinks nuns are sweet, right? Forget Julie Andrews. The hills are alive with the sound of music. Ah. I know, stick to my day job. Trust me, I will. Nuns can be the meanest, and they really do crack down on boys. And you think nuns don't have lesbian tendencies? They do. I was shocked to discover a very pretty girl that works for us admitted to me that she kissed a girl and liked it, and has dated gals as well as guys. I asked her, but you could get any guy you want. What made you do this? Well, if I like somebody and I've had a relationship with them, you just kind of. She would not classify herself as lesbian. She wouldn't embrace the whole let's get married, live together thing. And another girl overheard and she said, it's because of all you men. I said, you know what? I don't believe that. I believe a lot of women are getting into this just because of their own, and I didn't use this word, and I wanted to, because of their own sinful desires. I said, I think some women just flat out like it. And she goes, no, that's true. I'll tell you what, we need to talk about things in this culture. A lot of Christians, oh, we're not going to talk about this. Why not? Because there's too many Christians in America, especially white ones, love to give pat spiritual answers. Oh, Romans 1 says God gave them up. God gave them up. Yep, 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 yep. Is it that easy? Does somebody who struggles with bisexual behavior, is it all because God has put a curse on them? I don't believe that for a minute. Now, it does say in Romans 1 that people who deliberately reject the truth of God, that God will give them up. I do believe that. But what about people like me who went through my period where I struggled with desires that were not right? I don't want a man, and I have no interest in doing that stuff with a guy. Done some stuff? No thanks. I like women. And I appreciate my viewers defending me about me liking women. But I get tired of women being one-sided in white America, that when a man stands up and says, you're bitter, you have anger problems, you haven't forgiven, save it. I'm talking about things that I observe, talking about things I notice. Maybe the reading of the Craigslist post offended this person because she's guilty of some of the above. That could be. Another dynamic we see in American white females is the inability to take a look at themselves and hold a mirror of truth to their face and say, I'm wrong. I'm being a bitch. I'm being a jerk. I'm a materialistic pig. I guarantee you that if most white women in our culture, and a lot of black women, and a lot of Hispanic females, and a lot of Asian females would ask themselves this question in American culture, what is there other than my looks that would make me a good person to invest in relationally? If they would start asking that question, they might change and humble themselves. I'm not interested in little immature Hello Kitty Asian girls that are stuck up, that want to go to the mall on their day off. No substance, no depth. You're a materialist. You're into yourself. I don't know when American women are going to learn that the corporate greedy bastards that run this country have been targeting aggressively females' dollars and creating within them a discontent. I have an ex-wife whose house is testimony to buying too much stuff and not even using it all. Not even taking care of it all. And I see house after house in white middle class America, women going to Pier 1, women shopping, filling their house with stuff. I've been in homes where there's Bible studies hosted by high maintenance women. And the Bible study is just a backdoor approach to get all these Christians to come over to go ooh, ah, and drool over how beautiful their home is. And the Christians will say, oh, I love your furnishings. I love your Persian. I love that. Hey, I'm here to talk about the Lord. And if you really got something going on here, I'll meet in the shack. I also notice that it is white middle-class Christians that are perverting the gospel, polluting it down, and writing book after book on Your Best Life Now, The Wallet-Driven Purpose, or a host of soft, warm, fuzzy, feel-good books by Max Lucado. There is a direct correlation between somebody's theological frame of mind, between somebody's kindness, and how much money they make. I've been around middle-class Christians that look down on others that aren't just like them, that even because of their success will look down on those. I remember a guy said, you can do better than driving a school bus. I worked with a couple that went to Riverside Baptist Church. They bickered and kibitzed in the office on an almost daily basis. Honey, your food smells like armpit. Thanks, dear. You just made me lose my appetite. Well, it does. And I'm sitting in the office going, wow. He had a Cadillac car. They had the expensive Chevy four-door pickup, and they always talked about their fifth wheel. Went to dinner at expensive restaurants. Then they decide they're going to go and do some mighty work for God. He taught Sunday school. And he made a racial joke right in front of the class at Sunday morning. How do Asian children get their names? Well, Mom and Dad drop the silverware on the ground and it goes ting ding ding ding. That's funny. We had a Korean girl sitting in there and I thought, I wonder how she feels about that one. Wayne. I worked with the guy. I was energetic. I'm not office material. Bless him for trying. I did it for 3 months and I came to him and I said, this just isn't going to work out for me. One of the problems that Pacific has, and I will tell my viewers something very honestly, a lot of people don't like me because I'm loud, I'm outspoken, and I just don't fit people's ideal. It's not that I try to be loud to be obnoxious. I have a loud voice and can't help it. There are a lot of people to be driven nuts by a personality like me. If you're not a morning person, you're not going to get along with me. If you're low energy and a slug, you're not going to like me at all. Because I don't do well with slugs. I don't do well with people that play pajama bear all day long on Saturday morning. It's like, could you get out of your pajamas? Can we go do something? It's 12 o'clock in the afternoon and you haven't even eaten breakfast yet. No offense. Why am I saying this? Because we talk about stereotypes. I don't even fit in amongst most white women or white men, and I get razzed and teased all the time, even now. Do you ever quit talking? Do you know how loud you are? Do you know that if you cut your hair and be different, girls might like you? I've had several Hispanic women approach me in the last week. If you change your hair again and you did this, and I said, you know what? Nothing would change in this room. I don't care if I do this. I don't care if I do this. I look at the people giving me the criticism and they're covered in tattoos and piercings here, piercings there, and everywhere a piercing. They're not very nice. They're rude. They drink. I had a woman the other day tell me, what? You don't drink? In other words, that's a code word for, you're no fun. Could somebody please tell me why drinking, going on a date and drinking at a bar is fun? Smelling like alcohol, getting a splitting headache, and paying homage to the porcelain deity and going in the toilet. I don't get it. Our culture has turned upside down so much that now if you don't drink, and look at the beer commercials, the Mr. Cocky guy, the big built guy, those guys that drink and drink and drink, they don't look like that, by the way. More like the big overhanging beer gut. And I'll tell you what, those women that drink and drink and drink, they're not hotties. Look at the beer gut, smell the breath. I'm going to say something. I'm noticing more and more that a lot of white women, when I get near them, it's like I have to back away. Their breath is atrocious. Even the pretty ones, it's like, big turnoff. Is Pacific bitter against women? No, but I don't like this stuff and I comment on it. I love women. I give women a chance. But our culture is deteriorating so rapidly that it's getting harder to find anything that's redeemable in today's culture of women. And I've talked about black women. that go into McDonald's and everybody's standing in line quietly, and the minute a black woman walks in, everybody knows she's there. Talks loud, talks ghetto. People start turning around. What are y'all looking at? Y'all racist? No, you're acting like a bloody fool. You think you could shut up? Go and say that. Watch the fun. You might as well have dropped a match in the fireworks section of the back room of the store. It's the 4th of July then. Too many women in our culture think on their emotions, and if you don't believe me, yesterday I was trying to back my bus out. Hispanic woman next to me, I honked the horn, I start to go, and then those buses kept coming behind me, so I had to wait. As soon as they clear, I start to go, and she just puts it in reverse and backs out. I wanted so bad to get on the radio. Do you know what waiting your turn is? But if I had, she would have created enough drama that I would have been called into the office. I'm going to tell you something. Men and women don't belong in the same workplace together. The older I get, I'm starting to go, you know what? I want a place where it's just men. When I go to work, I want to work with men and go home to a woman. I don't want to work with women. They think on their emotions. They think out of a pretty much self-centered frame of reference. Now, I'm not saying all women are like this, but I am watching. And this goes for me, and this goes for what I just observe over and over, that when we get away from God's standard of doing things, things don't work. There are natural consequences in place that when there's divorce happens, there's problems. When women abdicate their roles and responsibilities, there's problems. The middle class, white middle class culture that I grew up in, most of those families let the TV be the babysitter, let game stations and PlayStations be the babysitter. Now it's the internet. Oh, my kids are back there with their Kindle and their tablet. Oh, now I can get a break. Do you know what they're doing on those technologies? Yeah. We're hearing more and more stories of kids killing their parents. My ex and I were both threatened by my son in the last 2 weeks. Unbelievable. We're hearing an increasing right in our own organization. Other drivers saying, man, these kids, they're so bad. School let them out the other day with boxes of those watermelon flavored raisins, the yellow ones. And I told them, I said, you know, I'm finding these on the floor and I don't like it. Please stop. They smash those raisins into the floor. They're sticky. They oil all over the floor. Stick them between the seats. Throw the box on the floor, juice box, crush it, throw it on the floor. One woman peeled an entire orange, threw the orange pieces all over the place. And you don't see this. You're driving. The seat compartments, are up to here. And you're like, sheesh, I don't have time to babysit this. It doesn't matter if you're nice to them. It doesn't matter if you're respectful to them. It doesn't matter. I watched a student the other day, black student. Principal and teachers escorted him out to the bus, and they took away his phone. I didn't ask why, but I can guess he was probably distracting class with it. He stood at the top of my stairs, and he's cussing and everything. I said, hey, dude, what's going on? They took my effing phone. I said, well, I got to have you sit down because I got to go. I'm holding up the other buses that are right up behind me, and we got to go. And you've always been good on my bus. Just take your seat and calm down. Mister, I need my effing phone. Principal and teachers are standing right outside the door. I said, you know what? You've always respected me, and I thank you for that. Just sit down. Things will work themselves out. Just sit down. The anger in him that his phone was taken away. Same thing happened with my son. The next day he threatened me, cussed at me, shut the F up. We are raising a very immature, godless culture of men and women that don't believe right is right and wrong is wrong anymore. And you take away their phone today, starting with teenagers. Did you guys see the video where the guy punches out his professor for taking a phone? Have you noticed a shift in America where nobody gives a rat's patootie about each other anymore? That we care more about spending in a mall and more about the latest release of the latest iPhone, but somebody's trying to cross the street and you can't even wait for them to cross and you get within 2 inches of their body with your dog on your lap? When are Americans as a whole going to wake up and realize this isn't right? Houston, we have a problem. That when somebody breaks down on the side of the road and all the people going home from work got to speed around them and lay on the horn and go as fast as they can and hit that puddle with some poor guy sitting there and nobody stops and says, do you need a lift? Do you want me to make a call? Pretty sad. Yeah, it's funny when your car's running good and hit all the puddles. White middle class people are the biggest jerks in America today. The biggest jerks. And it doesn't matter which race. They're selfish, they're materialistic, they're going to be the ones that won't use their turn signal, think the speed limits and the laws don't apply to them. If you don't believe me, go through an area in Cherry Creek. Go out to Hollywood. Look at Lance Armstrong. Traffic violations. Justin Bieber. Traffic violations. DUIs. Disturbing even his own neighbors. The guy's an idiot. Even the students on my bus, when you mention the name Justin, oh, I can't stand him. He's an idiot. I hate him. Way to go, Beebster. You're a loser. And he thinks he's all that in a bag of chips. Disgusting. No, you darn right I'm going to make generalizations about everybody. I told this woman I don't want to be on the team. She came up to me again yesterday begging me to be, it's a walking thing where we got to do so many. I said, I don't want to do it. I don't want to wear a pedometer. And I'm sorry, viewers, I'm a little bit, there are some things, and especially when it comes to stuff that's not mandatory in the workplace, I don't get behind those things, and I'll tell you why. Because when I see management get behind me and start firing rude people in the office and start addressing that, then I might get into these other extracurricular. I'm there to do my job. I'm not there to make family and get behind some company-driven thing when I see discrepancy among leadership and they don't really care about me and my feelings. Screw that. I'll walk and I'll walk my own steps and I'll walk across America 300 times. If you want me to write down how many miles I walk on a Saturday and throw it in the hat, I'll do that for you, but I'm not submitting to this. Many of you will think, wow, Pacific. Wow, what? I love my job. My supervisor is good to me, and there are people within leadership, within the drivers and the paraprofessionals that I like and respect. But we also have some inept leaders. We have leaders that look the other way, of Hispanic women that are rude all the time. Women that walk in with their smile and say hi to their favored ones and shite all over the rest of us. And many of us whites have talked and said, we're the wrong color. Somebody in leadership told me I said that once and I was told I had to watch it. Oh, but blacks can say it and Hispanics can say it for years and years and years, and now we white people are not allowed to. Do you notice what's happening with these ethnicities? They're no longer minorities. They're acting like the majority, and they're imposing their ways upon us, and we can't talk and we can't discriminate, but they can do whatever they want. Have you noticed that, people? The Hispanic dynamic in America, it is not. It is not the people from Mexico City that are coming over here and demanding a revolution. It's those from Chihuahua. It's those that are Hispanic. It's those who want to push the white man out, even though we, excuse me and thank you very much, set up traffic lights and sewer systems and telecommunications and roadways and buildings. All those buildings at the turn of the century that grace downtown Denver and every American city, they were not built by Hispanics and black people. I'm sorry. Or Asians. White people built them. Are you forgetting the slaves? I know what the slaves did. Most of them did not build those ornate brick buildings. Like hell they did. I know my history too. They didn't write the Constitution either. They didn't write the Battle Hymn of the Republic. They didn't sew the American flag. They weren't our founding fathers. I'm getting tired of the backlash against us white people about how terrible we are while they flood into our country with their ghetto behavior and their lack of quality behavior, and then they think they got the right to judge us and look down on us and treat us like crap. There's a secretary where we work that almost everybody that goes to her said she is a biatch. She is rude all the time. I try to go through chain of command, and I did, and nothing's done about it. Nothing is done. Well, if you knew how hard she worked. Really? What about us? Perfect attendance keeps my bus clean. No complaints. Yesterday I honked at a Range Rover or a Land Rover that cut me off. He used his turn signal, but there was not enough room. I was slowing down to a red light, and the gap was narrowing as I slowed, and he just cuts in, and I went beep, beep. And I just went, really? He grabs his phone. Yeah, call on me, dude. You're in the wrong. That's white women and white people today. They're going to call on somebody for honking, and they define that as road rage now. Now, there's a difference between laying on it and holding it down and crowding up on them and doing stuff like that, which I don't. There are times I've held the horn down because somebody has pulled right out, and I have had to. No, Pacific is watching what's happening. That gentleman, Mr. Smooth Operator. See, just classic white person. I thought you were Mexican. That was not a put down. Don't take it that way. And I turned around and I said, you know what? You're saying all this stuff about me. I said, do you know what I've noticed since I've been here? I said, I'm noticing that you guys are starting to discriminate against us. And you know what he said to that? Good, now you know how it feels. What do you mean I know how it feels? I didn't do nothing to your people. See, there you go, your people. You're the one calling me white. Do you notice that one-way street with them? Just the fact he said that in the workplace, that if I as a white guy made those statements that he made to me, I would get fired possibly, but he can say it. Well, did you write it up and report it to your supervisor? No, because it won't do any good. But if a bunch of Hispanics complained about me as a white guy saying things, I guarantee you it'd go into my file. Pacific has woken up. There's a huge double standard going on in America today. We have a president in the White House who's encouraging that double standard. We have a president in the White House who has widened the racial divide even more rather than bring it together. That our so-called commander-in-chief didn't once stand up and say, Michael Brown blew it. And I'm going to tell all Americans that when you disobey the law, when you rob convenience stores and you rough up a clerk, and when a cop tells you to move and you don't, these can be the consequences of your actions. Where's the leadership, Mr. B.O.? What is happening that racists don't want to deal with the sins in their own camp, but they sure want to talk about the sins in my camp, the white people, the Caucasians? The reason Africa is not an empire builder nation is because they can't get it together. There's so much infighting amongst themselves. People criticize the white man for being empire builders. You got to give them credit for this. At least they could galvanize and get it together and do it. But the Chinese are doing it too, so don't blame it all on the white guy. The Asians can pull it off. I am not racist, but there are generalizations that can be made. Right here in the African American community in the U.S., there's so much infighting amongst themselves. Black on black violence is high, and that's my fault? I don't think so. I drive through the black neighborhoods, and this is what I see them doing with their lives. Pimping out their cars. You go to turn left, and a group of them will just suddenly walk out in front of the street, and nobody was there. And they'll step out and they'll look at me and go as slow as they can. Really? You feel powerful now? You're blocking a bus. You're making your big strength statement. You got your pants all the way down to your knees, and you're gonna make a big statement in a crosswalk now because you have no freaking power in your life. How about white women that get behind their Subarus and they're gonna pull out in front of my bus when it's 30 miles an hour and they're gonna go 15, and I honk the horn because they just pulled out in front of me, and they look in their mirror and they continue to go 15 miles an hour. Is that the only power you have in your life, woman, is to be a jerk? Yes, it is. I see this all day long. White people play games out there, but so do black people, so do Hispanics. It has been said by many just in the last week. Black woman said it to me, a Mexican man from Mexico City said it to me, and white guys said it to me. That when foreign people come to the U.S., it isn't long before they're utterly ruined by this culture, and they're not nice and they're not sweet. And the man said, you know, if you brought Beth here to the U.S., she hates you. I said, she already did. And we see that. We see a lot of foreign women being very nice to that man, so much so the man's convinced he's found real love. And we don't hear the stories, but they're out there, of the guy that chased the Filipina or the Russian woman or the Ukraine woman or the other woman or even the Chinese. And once they get that woman over here and they taste this culture, divorce is imminent. She'll leave you and she'll clean you out. It's pretty sobering. I will tell you, I get tired of women getting on my channel that can't be objective and say, wow, you know, this guy's saying a lot about women. So the question is asked, is Pacific bitter? I'm not bitter, but just like women who complain about one man who upset them so much that now they're going to become, and let's talk about that, shall we? A woman, an American woman, can have one bad experience with a man, and that will color her entire life. I've had bad experience upon bad experience upon bad experience, and I still love women, and I haven't become gay. But a woman will have one bad experience where she gets butt hurt and her feelings hurt over a man, and now I'm going to become a lesbian because all men are so terrible. I'm serious. I've met them. They're all over the place. Women that go on 30 years later about their ex who's not even in their life or picture or radar. I've gone on date after date with women that just complain about their ex. And I'm going, I'd really like to meet the ex, because based on what I'm seeing, I bet you the guy isn't as bad as they make him out to be. I've been the victim of that. American culture in general is not healthy. Multiculturalism does not work. We see stupid little dumb ads on the city bus, celebrate diversity. I'm sorry, but they're not celebrating diversity. Start looking at ads and start looking at what they're doing. The white man is absent more and more. It's got a white woman in there, black man, an Asian, and a Hispanic. But what about when you drive through the Mexican neighborhoods in Denver and you see the billboards all written in Spanish and nothing but Mexican faces? How come they don't have a white guy or an Asian woman in there or a black guy? Isn't that interesting? How come in the black communities, their billboards, there's no white woman, Asian woman, or white guy in there? Do you see what is happening? Does anybody get it? White people, it's okay to discriminate against us. It's okay. Our government is encouraging it. Our workplaces are encouraging it. We hire crappy people in positions, when I look at just drivers that I know, bus drivers, that they could be trained to be in those office positions, and they are nice people. I'm like, who hires these women that are so ugly inside and outside and so rude? If you can't handle your job and you're a crab, leave. I admit, there are days Pacific gets moody. There are days I get frustrated, but if I had people working under me that are treating employees rude, I would say, you know what? Clean out your desk, you're done. I'm getting tired of people hiring hot-looking women that prance through. They don't work a hard damn day in their whole life. And they're the ones that can organize walking events and all this. It's like, we hired people for this crap. We got to transport students. We got mechanics. We got people working hard. And we got Miss Boobs pushed up into her face, or 2-inch boobs pushed in her face. And she can, hi, hi, hi. Like those cats, those, those stuffed animals. Meow, meow, meow. Oh, shut that off. I'm going to throw it in the toilet. Now, I've got a right to say these things. Does anybody resonate with this? This isn't male bashing women. This is Pacific blasting stuff that's wrong at all levels, regardless of race, creed, color, sexual preference, or ethnic origin. Wrong is wrong, right is right. I did this video in black and white for a reason, because it is black and white. I'm being discriminated against. I'm being looked down on by chubby Hispanic women with tattoos that think that they can talk about my hair and say it looks like Shiite. And we've got tattoos all across here, and our boobies pushed up, and we're overweight, and we have a baby out of wedlock, and she can't even get along with her boyfriend. And she's chopped her hair and cut it all different layers and lengths and pulls it up and got dye in there and got heavy eyeliner here and mascara. And I'm going, you're judging me? Body for body, you take off your shirt, I'll take off mine, we'll stand in the mirror, and you tell me who's got physique, baby. White boy. I'm tired of it. You're going to judge my hair? Women with attitudes at all levels in this country that are unable to look in the mirror, and because men are so pathetic that they think with their penis instead of this right here. Wow, she's got nice breasts. Yeah, and they're covered in tattoos, and don't look at all the ripples underneath those things. Dude, get over yourself. You're acting like a drunken fool with your lust. Isn't this video fun? Is anybody feeling good? Has anybody got their headphones on going, wow, man, I love this stuff? Because we need to say it. I'm muzzled when I go to work. I would love to turn around to the black alpha female and say, do you think you could shut up? I'd love to say that. I can't. They can go on and on about how important they are. She talks about her job, and she acts like she's just, and there's a certain group of people that do a certain type of work, which I cannot get into. It's involving bus driving, and they think they're the special ones. They finally put them on their own radio channel because there was so much chatter going on, and there's a certain number that would call in all the time, and every time I'd hear it, I'm like, shut up. I'm stopped at the railroad track. Just want you to know I'm going to be... Who cares? People that get on the radio and are playing kiss up to the dispatcher, but come in the break room and will turn around and make comments, and then get on the radio and make a rude comment to me. She wasn't fired. She wasn't suspended. Nothing. Nothing. Was anything done? Oh, I'm sure she was. And this is what we white people are seeing. People of ethnic minority are getting a free pass. White people, the gauntlet is coming down very hard on us. What's happened is now revenge is taking place. for all the perceived, real or imagined boo-boos that the ethnic origin communities got from us white people. Now they're rising up and getting revenge. And I have problems with white people. I talk about it all the time on my channel. I told you that when I drive in traffic, the rudest people out there, the ones with the SUVs, the large pickups, the white male with the large four-door diesel pickups, they're not going to let you in. They're rude. They're aggressive. They don't follow a speed limit. It's ridiculous. Spoiled brat mentality. Middle class people in America are spoiled brats, and I'm tired of hearing our government say we want to favor the middle class. Stop favoring anybody. Stop taxing the crap out of us and stop impinging on those of us that are down here. Walmart workers, restaurant workers, hotel workers, bus drivers, paraprofessionals. I could go on and on. We're the ones getting kicked over and over by all these people. And then I got to go to work and be looked down on because I'm white. I haven't even done anything. And I'm going to say it to your people. I didn't wake up and say, oh, I think I'm going to use the Hispanics as slaves today. That's not even in my mind. I notice it's all these younger generation that got all this attitude against us, and they didn't even go through this stuff. But yet you go into their neighborhoods and there's nothing but criminal behavior and carjackings and stupid stuff. I listen to the Mexicans and the Hispanics talk. Their own daughter rebelling against them, and then they come home and their son's smoking weed and won't get a job, and that their neighbor stole their car, and that their neighbor molested their daughter. And I hear this stuff all the time, and I go, yep, but we're the bad guy. White people are the scourge of the planet. And I listen to your conversations, and you can't even get along with your own Hispanic, Mexican, Cholo, Chinko, whatever community. And I throw those words out because now we've got Hispanics that want to sit there and say, well, there's a difference between Hispanic and Mexican and Chicano and Latino. You know what? What I see in my break room, it's all the same. Low class trash behavior, tattoos, drinking, partying, weed smoking, thug look, the whole thing. And you want to sit there and break this out into little technicalities? No, I'll lump it all in the same trailer trash. It doesn't matter if it's white people doing this or black people doing this or Hispanic people doing this. It's garbage. But Pacific would be vilified in that room if I were to vocalize any of this. I thank God for my YouTube channel. I thank God that I have the freedom to talk. Many of you all aren't using it. There's things you can say that will get you in trouble, but I'm not doing that. I'm not promoting racism. They are. Let me say that one more time. The biggest proponents of racism is the minorities, and they're not so minority anymore. What's going to happen when the Hispanics really get a toehold in this country? What's going to happen to me? You think I don't see the guy in different departments, the Hispanic male that walks around and he's sweet to all the good-looking Hispanic women and flirts with them? It's like, hey, dude, your underwear's showing. 99% of the time, you won't even say hi to me or acknowledge me. Why? Because I'm a white male with thick glasses. Throwaway. I believe in valuing all people. When a black woman comes up to me at the high school the other day and says, excuse me, can I ask you a question? Yes. I have to cover a route here. I've never done it before. Where do I park? What do I do? I help her. My mind doesn't go, oh, she's black. I don't think that. We shake hands, introduce, we start chatting. I like her as a person. But some people in America get up in the morning that it's us versus them. And Pacific gets up in the morning going, I think the whole world's against me. Hey, no, I don't have this complex. I'm not weird. But when I see what's going on, this world is not my friend. Not the Hispanics, Asians, blacks, whites, anybody outside of Jesus Christ. And even in the church, I got people that act like my enemies, not my brothers and sisters. Ex-wife. You go to churches in America today, and white middle-class Christians, same as the world. Stuck up, exclusive, elitist. Look down on me because I drive a bus. I'm listening to David Jeremiah in the morning, and I turn off the first 5 minutes of him promoting his Christian cruise. I'm like, really? There is a huge disconnect between the household preacher names on the radio now and the reality of what is going on in this country. I'm sorry, but David Jeremiah, Chuck Swindoll, I can't even think of the guy's name, but he was the pastor of Moody Memorial Church, Erwin Lutzer. They are so far removed from what I deal with on a daily basis. And this stuff that I deal with on a daily basis, that's the big engine right now. The engine is not the middle class making their good money and blinding themselves to the reality of what is going on with the youth in our country. I'm going to say it. Satan is galvanizing these youth into hate and action, and they are going to be a force to be reckoned with. It's coming. That's the new tidal wave. And adults did it to themselves. Adults showed materialism's where it's at, making big money, college degrees. And then those same adults promoted a godless evolution, which, by the way, no matter what the atheists say, teaching children that there is no God and moral relativism and teaching kids that it's okay to be gay is having huge, dire consequences societally, community-wise, and it's killing us. That we have kids becoming more and more amoral. That we have kids, all day yesterday on one of my routes, I heard, "Shut the F up." I said, "Hey, guys." And they're talking to each other, girls saying that. I said, "You know what? Can we cool it on the F-bomb, please?" 20 years ago, that wasn't allowed. Now we don't even write it up because it's so commonplace. You can't. We'd be writing reports all day on every bus. We taught these kids that stuff is more important than people. We taught kids that it doesn't matter what your sexuality is. We taught these kids there is no God, there is no absolutes. And yet, what's really hypocritical about American culture right now more than any other is that the blacks can scream about whites being racist, but it's okay for the blacks to be racist against us. How does that work? That Hispanics can be racist against me right in the workplace. I'd love to call the ACLU and say, "Why don't you come in here and watch this stuff? Just sit down and watch this and don't announce who you are." They won't do anything about that. But if a white man discriminates against a black or Hispanic or Asian female, it's national freaking news. I get it. I've learned the lesson. People don't like it when I say these things. People get very mad. "Boy, you're anti-American, you're anti-female." No, I'm not. These people are anti-American. Feminism is anti-female. And back to Schultz's comment on the nuns. They are the teachers in Catholic schools, and they're hard as hell on boys, while giving a free pass to girls, maybe because deep underneath their habits and all the stuff that they wear, they have lesbo tendencies. Do you think being a Catholic gets that out of you? And even the nuns look the other way with the priests sodomizing little boys, altar boys, and everything else. It's funny what's happening in our culture. It's okay to be gay. It's okay to do this. But it's not okay to be a man. It's not okay to say, "Sorry, the only ideal is what God says. One man, one woman. I've been divorced." Oh, yes. Divorce is wrong. But we have problems. After the fall, nothing has been the same. And the problem with evolutionists, the problem with atheists, the problem with Barack Obama, the problem with every administration across this land is until you start with the first premise, the first truth, that in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth, nothing will get fixed. We have task force and think committees and investigations and all this to find out what I see every day is obvious. Why don't you pay me the $1 million instead of wasting it on a bunch of fools that can't even see it naturally? We're going to fund out of Boulder a study. Are drivers getting worse? Why don't you ask me? Why don't you ask somebody who drives every day? No, we won't do that. That makes too much sense. Our country is drowning on stupid. Fox News, the lady of the house told me that Fox News talked about a pilot that ISIS set on fire. And of course, they do a video about it. And I thought, you know what? She goes, they showed part of it. I said, I don't want to see it, but we need to see it. I said, I don't need to see it. Just hearing that they're doing that and knowing that we've got millions of smart mouth teens addicted to their iPhones, dissing their parents, and nothing's even being done about that. And you're going to expect these teenagers to be moved? They're not even watching Fox News, nor do they care. We've got a big problem right here, and we've got old people that are living in their comfort zone going, oh, ISIS is going to get us. Your kids are going to get you. Our nation's going to get you. These minorities that aren't minorities are going to get you. Wake up. Wake up. The news is constantly spinning about the dangers over there. We're sleeping on a ticking time bomb right here. Forget about the terrorists. And that's Satan. That's all orchestrated by Satan. Satan is a master military maneuverer. If he can get the American people to worry about the enemy out there, they're not going to see the one that's sitting right in their own house. The end of the world could be for you today by your own kid. See ya, Mom. See ya, Dad. F you. Yeah. Do you know what they're doing on their phones? They're messaging hate and spew and venom. That's terrorism against your own mother and father. What are we doing about it? What is our society doing about it? Not much. But the people that are watching the news are panicking over ISIS. Do you know who ISIS is recruiting? Do you know that when these terrorist groups wake up and realize they could galvanize all these hateful, yucky, self-centered kids to raise hell, they're going to have a power on their hands. Do you know Satan's doing that right now? He's galvanizing the youth to go like this to everything we adults stand for. Everything, and we let it happen. We got churches in America that are stupid, trite churches that need to shut down. The preachers need to quit calling themselves a minister and get a job. Churches that are too busy trying to be Starbucks friendly and wear khaki shorts friendly and surf right into church friendly instead of saying the hard things that people need to hear. We're not addressing women. We're not addressing feminism. We're not addressing the youth. We have youth groups where the pastor tries to be hip and friendly and spikes his hair up and goes, ha, we're fun for Jesus. And these kids aren't learning a damn thing. It's fun, fun, fun till daddy takes the T-bird away. And that's the problem of our whole culture, is everything revolves around how much fun we can have. We become hedonistic to the core. Most of us, if we admit our own struggles, are based on hedonism. Pleasure. I will say things about races. I will say things about ethnicities. I will say things. We have a problem, Houston. Is anybody seeing it? And for all those women that think I'm going to ban them because you disagree with me, I don't operate like that. If you're being a jerk, yes. If you're cussing at me, attacking my looks and attacking me with venom, goodbye. But if you believe I'm anti-female and I'm bashing because I read Craigslist ads, could you please look at those ads and tell me what the value is in them? Not one of those ads, I take that back, there was one who said she cooks, but not one of those ads is anything about a woman saying what she'll do for a man. Everything is me, 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 me. You got to meet my list of requirements. I don't have to meet any woman's list of requirements. Let me say that one more time. I do not have to, nor will I meet the list of any woman's requirements. It's, you know what? You will not yell at me. You will not talk to me. If you do, date's over. Get out of my truck. Goodbye. I will take you back home in the middle of the date. I am done. I'm the alpha male. You're not. I'm a male. I'm proud of being a male. And if you don't like that, go find somebody that you can panty whip into your submission. I'm not going to go down that road. If you want to be obese and not lose weight, that's your business. but don't expect me to coddle you and give you a group hug for it. If you want to smoke weed and you got a problem because I call that a drug and I don't want anything to do with it, that's your problem. If you don't like the fact I don't like outspoken, bold, nasty, in-your-face women, that's your problem. If you want to accuse me of being picky because I grew up in a time when there were basics in place, when women were pretty and they grew their hair down to here and they shaved their underarms and they didn't have bad breath and they acted like ladies, and I'm reminiscing about that era, and I'm looking at women chop up their hair and dye and deface and mar and graffiti their bodies, and I'm supposed to accept that? Are you freaking serious? Jesus Christ loves a soul. But I don't think Jesus Christ looks at these women and goes, wow, I really like that tat, man. Don't put me in your mold. Don't tell me, oh, you're not very Christ-like. No, I'm not very Christ-like. Let's just lay that card out on the table. Jesus is still working on me. But if you look at the disciples and you look in the Bible and you look at Peter and all of them, they had their own personalities too, that God didn't come down and say, I don't like your personality, you good. Well. He used them in spite of themselves, and he uses me in spite of myself. And I'm not going to be squeezed into some Christian's mold or some black person's mold or some Hispanic's mold of what I should do with a hairstyle or this or that. By the way, I was not offended at a viewer who gave me pictures of a hairstyle. I appreciated that. You were kind about it. I respect that. Pacific is going to be Pacific. I'm not black, and I'm not going to be black. I'm not Mexican, and I'm not going to be Mexican. I'm Irish, thank you very much. And I happen to think some Irish women are damn pretty, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. I also think some Hispanic women are pretty, but I want nothing to do with them for the most part. I've seen what they're all about. No, thank you. I've tried to date some black women, and black women, some of them are nice to me, and some of them are not. I've dated some Asian women. Some of them are nice to me, and some of them are not. But once they all come to America, they all become the same yucky thing. Our culture is toxic. There are cultures that are toxic. There are problems in China. There are problems in India. There are problems in the Ukraine. There's problems in Russia. I admitted to my friend in China who's teaching English over there. I said, I find Russian women to be absolutely irresistibly, I have to say, I probably think they're prettier than a lot of the Asians I've looked at. But I think some Asian women are stunning. People seem to think I hate white women. No, I don't. Russian women are some of the most gorgeous women I've seen. I'm not going to apologize for that. Some Scandinavian women are absolutely hot. What I attack is an attitude, is a mentality, is an ideology, a philosophy, a teaching, a theology that is incorrect, damaging, and destructive to society. When I talk about women becoming narcissistic, selfish, self-centered, materialistic, and all caught up in things instead of people, I have a right to talk about that. When women are defending their right to be obese and their right to cop an attitude and their right to dress like a slut and a whore, and they get mad at you, you're so judgmental. So are you. Give me 5 minutes with you. I guarantee you. I see it in the break room all the time. I hear people say about other people, that guy judges me. But then I listen to him 5 minutes later. Oh, did you see what she was wearing? I can't even believe she'd wear that. Oh my gosh. You just judge. Shut up. I'm not talking to you. Oh yeah, I convicted you. Now you're going to get mad and then you're going to turn me in for harassment. I know how this all works. I'm very careful to avoid those pitfalls. Multiculturalism doesn't work. Black people need to hear truth. White people need to hear truth. Asian people need to hear truth. Hispanic et al. All the other things that they claimed were so different. If you really want to get technical, and I'm going to get in trouble for this, but Hispanic, Chicano, Latino, Mexican is not a race. It's a mixture of Europeans and Asians and blacks. There's only 3 races: Asian, European, and black. Do your homework. Not saying you're less than. I'm not saying that at all. But Pacific's getting tired of it. There are Mexican people that are older than me that I talk to at work that I respect. They're hardworking, they mind their own business, and they stay out of this drama and this political bullcrap. I like them because it all boils down to their people. I can appreciate the guy leaning up against the tree on a siesta with a big sombrero on. I like that picture. There are things I like in the Mexican culture that I'm not ashamed to admit. But I don't like what happens when people come to America and they change. I am not anti-Mexican. I don't like it when a government allows people, I understand why they're leaving their country, but a lot of them that are coming over here are doing drugs and pedophilia and all kinds of other things, and they're sucking dollars out of our economy, and I'm tired of it. I'm tired of people, liver-bellied white people, just bending over backwards and letting them dominate by bringing in their culture, and they're not going to speak English. I got a problem with that. We lack leadership at all levels. I have just as much right to an opinion as they do. And when people that are freaking themselves out and defacing their bodies and they live trashy, ghetto, garbage lives can sit there and, I'm proud of my daughters. Oh, they're pregnant out of wedlock. Kid does not have a father. And you go from one Hispanic to another Hispanic, weed smoking, pot smoking, jail bound, carjacking. And yes, I hear this stuff in the break room. This isn't me just being racist. This is what I hear out of their own mouths. And the drama that goes on in those families. No thanks. You're going to comment on my hair? If I were to turn around and say, you know what, I would take your comments about my hair seriously, but when I look at your life, you guys have not. You guys have failed. You failed because you don't put your faith in God at all. You condone stuff that God doesn't condone. We're living in a culture, folks, where the world is turning upside down. That all cultures are redefining morality. All cultures are saying, I'm so proud of my daughter. She's having a baby. Yeah, out of wedlock. Congratulations. Another kid that's going to be burped down in society. And I look at mother. Mother's not very good. That kid's going to be worse than her. Wow, that's awesome. Let me buy you some balloons. I can't get behind that. But Pacific, you have a son that's going over the edge. Yes, I do. But there's extenuating circumstances. But divorce is still bad. Pacific doesn't sugarcoat his own life. So for all those that want to point at me and go, nah, 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 no. I'm not ignoring my own contributions to this or that. But that doesn't mean I'm going to be muzzled just because you think I should be silent. No, we need more people speaking up. We need more people like myself that can call a spade even if it hurts them, if it hurts me. You think I don't feel it in the morning when I drive a bus? And then we got a white kid with glasses. He's a jerk, never says hello. And he's hanging around with these Hispanic guys. And I think, yep, he doesn't fit with the white crowd for some reason. Now he's wearing a chain. I wear a chain. Now he's sporting a chain. He will not say hello. Yesterday I walked to the back of the bus to a count. He put his foot up on the seat. I said, hey, get that off there. What? I said, don't put your feet on the seat. I said, what did I say? My rules are simple. They're 3. Respect. Respect the driver, respect the bus, respect each other. Get your feet off the seat. And then they asked me the other day, you going to buy us some candy? Are you serious? No. You think I don't feel the hate? I don't owe you a darn thing but a bus ride, pal. You're not my friend. The kids today are amazing. We're supposed to do everything for them. Not this boy. I do my job, and I do it well, and I do it professionally, but I'm getting tired of this stuff. More and more, I'm starting to think that box truck with boxes on it looks so good. Boxes don't talk back. Boxes don't hate. Just don't drop them on your foot. Viewers, I've talked about some very controversial things today. Those that know my heart will know exactly where I'm coming from. I'm not racist, but can I say something? I'm getting a chip on my shoulder when I watch the Hispanics literally taking over Denver. and they're doing whatever they want, and they're discriminating, and they're hating, and they're raising hell, and I can't say anything? I don't think so. As that bumper sticker on that Chevy Blazer in the movie Red Dawn aptly put it, they'll take away my gun when they pry my cold dead fingers off of it. And the enemy did. They'll shut me up when they kill me, if God lets them. Till then, I'm going to blow my foghorn all I want. Pacific Ocean liner, Pacific Ocean Asia will be heard. And when I'm gone, somebody else will be heard. And when that person's gone, and even in the middle of all this, God's word is heard. The still small voice of God and Jesus Christ will have and has the last word, and he'll silence everybody. One day I'll be a bye-bye. I'll be at home in heaven. Jesus Christ, no one's going to shut him down. No one's going to accuse him of being racist. No one's going to accuse him of being politically incorrect or anti-feminist. Jesus Christ is, was, and is to come, and he is not bound by any of this foolishness that men and governments and societies of the world do. This is what happens. What I'm talking about on this video is when we don't start with the premise in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. When we don't start with that, this is what we get. That what we're seeing in our culture is a direct result of saying no to God and yes to sin and yes to man's silliness and thinking that he's the superior one. God is on the throne, not you. All man is doing, anything involving humanity, is making a mess. Even David Jeremiah said, you know, we pride ourselves in what kind of a car we drive, and then we stop and think that in the Garden of Eden we didn't even need a car, and yet that very car we drive is costing us a fortune in repairs, maintenance, and gas, and not to mention killing us by what it's putting into the environment. That any man or woman in our culture today can look at this and think that this is paradise because they got a degree and got a house and they're living in a technological, man-made world, they don't get it. Now we have people, the corporate gurus have now decided to market and make a big billion-dollar industry off organic foods and rape people some more. Health is important, and now they're going to charge you for that health. If you really care about our health, why are you gouging us? Poor kids can't afford organic food. Isn't that interesting? If it's organic, why is it so much more expensive? Well, because if they don't use pesticides, it should be cheaper. Well, it's harder to organic. You know what? If everybody demanded organic food, we could shut all this big corporate industry down. But Americans are the way they are. When I think about the Garden of Eden, a lot of my viewers might go, the garden? Come on, Mike. Think about it. Temperature perfect. They didn't need clothes. A mist came up and watered. Vegetation you could just pick and eat. Animals didn't kill you. You didn't get zapped by rattlesnakes and mosquitoes. They were all there. God created all that stuff. But things were in harmony. It's when we sinned, the whole balance twisted. By the sweat of your brow you shall work. The animal kingdom is upset because we sinned, and they attack and tear and bite and devour and hurt and sting. Sorry to use an expression from nature, but when we sinned, we kicked over a hornet's nest. And all those hornets are going out all over the world. Zzz, sting, 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 and it continues to be the gift that keeps on giving. Feminism was originally started by women that weren't treated right. Women that got butthurt over something. And they took that, just like everything, and took it beyond reasonable. The ACLU started with a good premise. And because we're sinners, it always goes into something more than it should be and dangerous, toxic, damaging to society. I feel good about what I said. I approve this message. This is Pacific Ocean Asia, and I will not apologize for any of this. There are generalizations that can be made, and most American women that tell me that I've got a bitterness and an attitude towards women are women that probably can't look at the truth in their own life. That is a fact. We've heard men blasted, and those same women don't even say, "You're bitter." Those same women don't say to the other woman, "Boy, you're bitter. You really got something against men." How come they never say that? But a man like me stands up and says what he's been through with women and watches these dating sites and reads it and has fun with it on a Saturday evening or Sunday. Give me a break. What part of hypocrisy do you not understand? And yes, I'm going to say some hard things. Even my own fans want to menstruate against me because I'm talking. It's like, do you not see my heart? If you believe I'm anti-female, then go away. Because I'm not, and I don't need to defend myself. But I would challenge you to give as much energy and emotion and passion to what you're saying and go back and attack all your women friends that are blasting men. Boy, you're really bitter. You really got something against men. You won't do it. I rest my case. I've made my point. You lose. Score 1 for Pacific on the category of truth. I'm going to call it what it is. Do I hate you? No. Do I get mad at the things you're saying on and on one of my sites? Yeah, you know what? And I haven't banned you, but if you really believe that I'm so terrible and I hate women and I'm bitter, then move on. Pacific Ocean Asia was just approached the other day by one of my viewers about Fiven. I don't even know what it is, but apparently you can buy views. I'm not interested in that. Pacific Ocean Asia is not going to inflate his numbers to make it look good. I wish it was into the millions. But I have one verse that supports me, viewers. Broad is the road to destruction. Many there be that enter on it. Narrow is the way to eternal life. Few there be that find it. Few there be that are on my channel, but those few that are on this channel are quality individuals that are looking for substance, not breast implants. If you want breast implants and you want exposed navels and you want women doing this, you're not going to get it here. There's plenty of porn sites you can look at for that. If you want to watch men get hit in the nuts with a golf ball or kids falling off slip and slides and turning upside down in a pool and think that's funny, there's all kinds of channels for that. I don't want to waste my time with that. If you want to see horrible, violent things that people do to people, there's a junk channel you can watch for that. But people who watch Pacific Ocean Asia, they don't watch it because I'm some sort of a guru, because I'm some sort of a legend or a rock star. They watch it because I'm speaking truth. And people that are connected with truth on any level, even if you're not a Christian, they're going to be interested in truth. People are getting tired of the status quo. People are getting tired of what's going on, and they connect here as a touchstone because they're going, wow, somebody's saying this. That's right. This is Pacific Ocean Asia. This is my channel. I'll blow my horn if I want to, and I will not repent and apologize for anything I've said herein. No way. God made me who I am. I have faults and I have sins that I need to overcome and things I need to work on, and it's not always easy. But I will not apologize for my vocalism. I know the way people view me out there, but I also know the way they view Jesus Christ, and I know the way they view the disciples of Jesus, and I know the way they will view any disciple of Jesus that tries to follow him. You're going to be the scourge of the earth, the scum of the earth, and you're going to be hated, and you're going to be maligned and lied about and falsely accused and persecuted, and the Bible says that. So if my numbers are down here, at least the people that I got are quality individuals. Thank you very much. If 17 million people want to watch two women poop in a cup and eat it, I can tell you they're not quality people. Thank you very much. I don't think they're on the Eternity Express. For God. I will not compete against a bunch of secular people and a bunch of people that are living in sin, that live the Hollywood life. I'm not going to compete against those views. That's not my job. If I became that popular, then chances are I have left the faith. Not that I can lose my salvation, but that I've just totally turned my back on God, because I'll tell you what, if you have the accolades of men and those large scales, you're probably not walking in the Holy Spirit. And that goes for Joel Osteen and a host of other preachers out there. I don't care how many books they write. I don't care how many millions of dollars. I come back to the foundational, look at the way they're living and the way they're spending their money, and they are going to be held accountable for that. These people are crooks. They're charlatans and they're frauds and they're preaching heresy, and we need to stop listening to them. Pacific has never asked his viewers for money. Pacific has never said, I'm going to continue this channel with your faithful giving. Oh, I'll send you a plastic cheap cross that looks like it's pure gold if you give me $20,000 or more. You know what? I will speak the truth for free, because the truth is free. It's in the Bible, and you can get a copy of the Bible anywhere in this country. This is Pacific Ocean Asia, and I'm very happy with the freedom that God has given me, that he, after all the years of fear that I lived in, walking on eggshells with my mother and the abuse I've been through with American women, I'm thankful to God that he has opened my mouth and speaking the things that need to be heard. Thank you very much. That's the power of God. He made a mouse bold as a lion, and I'll say it. I will not be muzzled by racial dynamics. I will not be muzzled by a bunch of women that are out of control. No way. I will not be muzzled by an ex-wife or a son or anybody else. I am free in Jesus Christ. Those people, all, including myself, will give an account of our lives to God. Do I do and say everything just right? No. Am I polished and perfect? No. But this is the rough cut. The unedited version. There are generalizations that can be made, and if people got a problem with that, just look in your own thinking and the things that you say and believe. I guarantee you make generalizations too. I've seen black people do it, Asian people do it, Mexican people do it, and white people do it. Nobody's immune. But I make generalizations that are based in fact, not opinion. And on that note, I'm going to go eat my breakfast, my old-fashioned oatmeal, and I'm going to go get ready. This is Pacific Ocean Asia, signing off. Bye-bye.